everybody here. I'm glad to see a packed house. Every time we get a packed house, you guys hear me say that, but all too often many of us come to these meetings and sometimes we're the only ones here. So it's good whenever we get citizens that want to come in and be involved, understand and get a history behind some of the decisions that get made. Also get a history behind, you know, what the town's doing. So I commend you all for coming out tonight. Mr. Crump, it's awesome to see you. I'm going to be real quick, but I am going to cover on the most important things that I think that you need to hear from me. I'll send you an email later on to council and to the mayor and town manager on some of our call stats and call volume. I'll just tell you guys we're as busy as we were last year, if not a little bit busier, but things as far as our response times are holding well. The number of guys getting out here, number of times the guys getting out here, self-initiated activities, things like traffic stops, business checks, residential checks, things like that are all holding steady. So I feel like we're holding our own this summer. It is hot. Several of our guys the other weeks, we're trying out some new vests. Josh actually got one of them. They're a max dry cool vest. Basically gives you some room in between some of the body armor. These 90 plus days out here kind of get a little bit heated. So bear with us if you happen to ride by and see a couple of cars out here during the daytime more than what you normally would, because these guys are making them come in, get hydrated, take that vest and take that duty gear off for a little while. Some of you may have seen on the news this morning, outside of Indian Trail, but close enough for a stone's throw away, we had a death investigation going on off of Fincher Road. I was going blank there for a minute, off of Fincher Road in the Prestwick neighborhood just outside of town. Don't know if any of you have seen that or not, but we had a man deceased over there and another woman this morning, both of them victims of gunshot wounds. I feel real good about the investigation at this point to be able to tell you publicly that there is no fear of mine in the neighborhood that there's somebody running loose targeting random people. So I'll leave it at that until we can release further information out. Just want to commend Public Works publicly in front of you guys. This past week we needed them for a call for service here in town. Mike and Ryan, Mike sent Ryan over to help us out with the Bobcat and loaned Ryan to us for about 2 hours, which helped us tremendously on the law enforcement related call. 4th of July parade we had a good time on. A lot of people out on, and just enjoyed the crowd. I told Susan I think it's one of the biggest crowds that we've had 4th of July parade, and we just appreciated the opportunity to get to work that. Deputy James May did all our planning this year for that, so we hand that out to our guys in the field and let them do the pre-planning for that and coordinate with the town and with the fire departments and things for those kind of coverages. And that's actually a requirement, a check off of theirs as they move on in their career, to have things like that under their belt, you know, for planning and stuff. One of the last couple of things this morning, several of our deputies were involved, you may have seen on the news, in a vehicle pursuit here in town that resulted in a crash on Waxhaw Indian Trail Road. The Highway Patrol initiated that activity about 1 o'clock, I think it was this morning. Josh and several of the other guys that were involved in it. Turns out it was two 14-year-old boys that were in the vehicle that they had taken from their parents' house. So take your keys in your bedroom if you got teenagers and go to sleep with them under your pillow. That'll keep your car from getting torn up. So, last thing I want to touch on is right before the parade, I got a phone call and a barrage of emails. And I'll try to breathe before I say this, but there was a local newspaper that ran an article out that taunted Indian Trail low taxes, no police department. And if anybody had time to read that, what they sold you was half of a story, if that, probably a quarter of the story. I've seen students write better and more detailed and more thorough, accurate information, but anybody that knows me knows that my heart's invested in this town, along with these guys right here. And it really made me mad that morning when I started getting phone calls, because I don't read that paper for a reason. But I think you guys know that these guys are committed to working for you. The low taxes, no police department, 34,000 people in town, and you got a safe crime rate. You've got some things that are cited in there that are little websites that go around and pull different stats and numbers and throw an award out to a town here or throw an award out to a town there. But if you go in there and read what they do, they're just people sitting behind the desk. They've never visited a town to tell you whether it's the safest community or not. They're just throwing out some little numbers here or there. Indian Trail at this point will never make it on those little website award lists because of the way that we do our crime reporting. If anybody wanted to call from that newspaper and ask us, we could explain that to them. But they tried to sell you a half or a quarter truth out here. What it did was, if I was a business owner, it would have made me very happy because my phone blew off the hook from other municipalities saying, why come you got a low tax rate and your crime rate's so good? So I think I want to commend you guys, because what I took out of that article was, A, they didn't bother mentioning several of the fire departments that cover your town residents here. They mentioned one. And you got a slew of firemen that work here in town that protect your homes, your property, respond out whenever you have a medical emergency, and respond out to motor vehicle crashes here in town. And they didn't mention all these deputies that are in this building that work Christmas, holidays, New Year's, and everything else up here for you. So if you didn't read the article, don't waste your time. And if you did, I apologize that you did. Y'all have a good night.